Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here with a new PB&J card class video. And today's video continues with our nautical Paint With Me theme. And here is a look at the fun whimsical card that we will be painting today. Now this card features a stamp from our new Dream and Discover collection. And here is a look. This is a 3x4-inch transparent stamp set, 30-848 Whale Done. And this is such a joy to paint because it's such a fun, whimsical image. Now, before we start, I wanted to mention that I will have a full supply list up on screen at the very end of the video. So if you want to check out all of the supplies, stamps, inks, colors, everything, I will have that listed up on screen and you can just hit pause to look at it in more detail. Now I am painting this using Distress ink re-inkers used as watercolors, and I'm just putting the colors that I plan to use into my palette, and then I will begin painting. Now I pre-stamped this using Canson 140-pound watercolor paper using Memento sand ink and a Misty stamp positioning tool. And right here at the beginning you saw me outline just a couple of things in black. I did that with a Pitt Artist pen, and that is a waterproof ink so I can paint right over it and it won't bleed or blend. But I just wanted to be sure to have those eyes and that little part of the sailboat show up real well. But otherwise I wanted this to have the look of a no-line watercolor painting as opposed to something that looks like it was stamped and then colored in. This almost looks like it was just hand painted and hand drawn. And that is what I love about using the Distress ink re-inkers with the Memento sand ink pads for stamping. And I've said this in other videos, but when they go together, when you paint on top of something that's stamped with that ink using the Distress ink re-inkers, I find that the ink color just seems to take the color of the paint that is going on top of it. So you can very easily just get that hand-drawn, hand-painted look without having to strain to see what you're painting or go back in and draw or trace any of those details. So I'm working on these whales. I just stamped them one on top of the other. I'm not going obviously for any type of realism here. I just wanted these to be these two cute whales on the card. I'm not painting a background or anything. I'm just focusing on the whales, mixing and matching different colors of blue. And I wanted them each to have sort of their own tone of blue, their own personality or their own shade of blue. So you'll see me on this first one. This is getting more of a traditional sort of navy-ish blue color. And down at the bottom it will have a bit more of a turquoise touch to it. And I started out light and then am building up my color, getting things darker as I go. That's the easiest way for me to sort of see the direction I want to take an image as I'm painting it in, and also the most forgiving way because you can always add more color. So I just feel like I'm more in my safety net if I start light and then darken things up as I go. These are actually super easy to paint. They're just the right size, not to be too overwhelming on a card or to paint, and sort of the curves of them are just very natural for painting in. Now this is part of our summer collection, our Dream and Discover release, but don't be afraid to think that you only have to use these images in the summertime. To me, it's more the sentiment that goes with it that makes it suit the occasion. So with this one, I'm using the Whale Done sentiment, which could be used for congratulations for anyone, any time of year, not just in the summertime. I think these would also be very fun for a card for kids, even a little bit older kids, like young kids would love it, but also it wouldn't be goofy or silly for a teenager or college age kids, because, and adults for that matter, but because it's not too kiddish, if that's a word. So I'm painting this one in just a little bit more turquoise and gray. Now there is in his splash up there within the stamp, I think it says like ahoy there, so you could use this as an everyday card. I was, when I inked up the stamp, then I'd wipe out the ahoy there, and I did that when I was stamping it in the stamp positioning tool. I stamped it a couple, 3 times just to build up the color, but of course the third time I stamped it, I forgot to wipe away the ink on ahoy there, but because it's very light, it doesn't show up once I put the color on top of it, up in that larger sort of blowhole splash coming out, because I didn't want that to be the sentiment. I really wanted it to be the whale done. Now if you get some paint out of the lines like I did there, you can go in with just a wet brush and sort of loosen up or wet that paint down. Then go in with a drier brush, like a thirsty brush, and sort of suck up or scoop up that extra paint that goes out of the lines. So I went ahead and dried that, but I felt like it was just a little bit too different than the whale above. I wanted to tie them in together, unify it a bit more, so I am going to add just a little touch of that blue that was used up above down here below, and I felt like that just made them look like they were pals, or that they were meant to be on the same card. And I'm just playing around here with the color. I like to fiddle with color and go back and forth and try different things. For me, that is definitely some of the fun of painting and stamping, but you definitely would not need to add as many layers to get the same look as I am getting here. I'm going to go ahead and dry that. Just wasn't sure if I was going to add more color on top, but when I'm not sure what to do, sometimes I just grab that heat tool and go ahead and dry things. So I'm going to move up here now to this whale and sort of take care of his stripes here on his underside. I'm going to put down some brown paint with a fine tipped paintbrush. Again, all my supplies, including what brushes I'm using, are listed up on screen at the end of the video, but these are silver black velvet paintbrushes that I'm using the different sized round tips. Depending on if it's something very detailed, I use a smaller tip, and if it's something more open, I will use a larger tip. And once I put that color on top of those stripes, I'm kind of blending it out with some water so that they aren't quite as dark. But again, you can see the magic of Memento ink and Distress ink re-inkers. That just looks like some brown stripes there now, that match the paint color that was put over the top. I'm going to add now just a little bit of that more turquoise gray color from the whale that's below, tying it in up here with this whale. Again, just working to unify the design as a whole, and add some shadowing here under his flipper. Is it a flipper? I know it's not an arm. I'm not very good with whale and ocean and fish anatomy, but we'll call it a flipper. I'm sure someone can correct me in the comments below if I am not right about that. And here I'm just pulling some of the brown down into that whale. Now we're going to work on his spray here. I decided to go fairly dark just because I knew I wanted to be able to cover up that ahoy there portion that I accidentally stamped. And I'm also mixing in both the blue, sort of true blue colors, and some of the grayish turquoise colors here. And I'll just work my way around. I love on how this particular whale, he has such a big smile. I think that is so cute, so sweet. And again, on these, just like on pretty much everything that I paint, I started lighter colors and go back in and darken things up. And here we will move up to this little boat up here, which I think is another really fun and whimsical touch. Both of these whales just have sort of a joy and cuteness to them. And there we go. We'll just paint in that boat. And we will be finished with the card. So to finish this completely, I went ahead and all I had to do was stamp the sentiment and add it to a note card. This is a standard A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also ring that bell so that you're notified every time we upload a new video. And you can follow Penny Black on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, our website, and our blog. And I'll link to all of those for you, as well as the stamp set down in the YouTube description box below. And coming up here is the supply list as promised. Thanks for watching and happy stamping.